So, what happens when we die? It's one of the biggest questions we ever ask ourselves, right? But what if I told you one of the most incredible answers comes not from today, but from a philosopher who lived 1600 years ago? Today, we are diving into Gregory of Nyssa's amazing solution to what he called the resurrection puzzle. And this is the heart of the whole problem. We all have to face this at some point. We live, we die, our bodies break down and literally return to the earth. So the idea of a physical resurrection, it seems to go against everything we see and know. How could you possibly rebuild a person from dust scattered to the winds? It just feels impossible. And that is exactly the challenge that Gregory of Nyssa decided to take on.
What's so fascinating is that this isn't just some modern scientific doubt. People were asking these exact same questions 16 centuries ago. They looked at their own bodies that get sick, feel pain, grow old, and fail, and they thought, wait a minute, why would I want this thing back in some perfect spiritual afterlife? It just didn't make sense. It felt like a total contradiction.
To solve this puzzle, Gregory does something absolutely brilliant. He basically flips the whole problem on its head. He says, look, we're all asking the wrong question. The real problem isn't how we can rebuild our flawed bodies. The problem is our flawed bodies.
And this is where he gives us this incredible metaphor, the tunics of skin. Get this, his idea is that our mortal bodies, the ones we're in right now, aren't our true selves. They're just something we're wearing, like a temporary set of clothes. These tunics are a symbol for everything that makes our physical lives difficult and, finite.
So let's break that down. What are these tunics exactly? Well, Gregory gets pretty specific. He's talking about mortality itself, the simple fact that we're all going to die. It's disease, it's suffering, it's those irrational passions that get the best of us, it's the pains of aging, and just the general frailty of being in a physical body. All the negative stuff we associate with being human, he says that's just the outer garment, not the real you underneath. Okay, so once you start to see your body as just a temporary tunic, the whole idea of resurrection completely changes. Suddenly, it's not about trying to patch up an old, worn-out jacket. It's about taking it off and leaving it behind for good. And this is the key. For Gregory, resurrection is not about reassembling a broken machine, trying to glue all the old pieces back together. No, it's a complete restoration of our nature back to what it was always meant to be, perfect, whole, and totally free from those tunics of skin. Just look at the contrast here. On one side, you've got life in the tunics, flawed, temporary, subject to all kinds of decay. And on the other, the resurrected state, perfected, eternal, and free. It's not a simple repair job. It's a total upgrade, a complete transformation from one way of being to another, glorious one. So this idea of a complete transformation, it sounds amazing, right? But it also brings up a pretty huge question. How? How is it even possible to go from dust and decay to some brand new, perfected form? Well, to explain this, Gregory points to a really powerful analogy he saw happening in the world all around him. And this is the logical question, isn't it? It still feels a little bit like magic. We're talking about going from a state of, non-existence, from dust, to something brand new and glorious. So how do you possibly bridge that gap? Gregory's answer is the seed. That's it. He asks us to just look at what happens every single day in nature. He argues that the secret to this whole profound mystery is hidden inside one tiny little grain of wheat. Think about the journey a seed takes. It gets buried in the ground, and its hard outer shell has to break down, dissolve. It basically has to be destroyed. If you were just looking at it, you'd think it was the end, but it's not. From that exact moment of what looks like total destruction, something entirely new and way more glorious emerges, a living plant. And here it is, Gregory's core insight, right from the man himself. He says a seed has to dissolve to grow. In the same way, our mortal bodies have to dissolve. The very same power that can transform that seemingly dead seed into a living plant, he says, is the same power that can restore us. The destruction isn't the end. It's actually a required step for something new to be created. Okay, so we've got the problem, those tunics of skin. We've got the process, the analogy of the seed. But that leaves one last big question. Why? What's the ultimate point of this whole grand cosmic transformation anyway? Well, for Gregory, the purpose is all about a return journey. It's about bringing humanity back to that original, perfected state we talked about at the beginning. It's like a cosmic cleansing, where all the things that weigh us down while we're wearing our tunics, all the evil, the suffering, the decay, are finally washed away for good. And this really drives the point home. The final goal is the perfection of humanity itself. So all the struggles we go through in this life, which feel so huge and real to us right now, are ultimately just temporary conditions. In the grand scheme of things, they become pretty insignificant compared to that final restored state of being. So to wrap this all up, Gregory gave us this incredibly powerful metaphor of the tunics of skin, these temporary things that hold us back. And that kind of leaves us with a really fascinating question for our own lives, doesn't it? What are the burdens, the limitations, or the negative ways of thinking that we wear like a tunic today? And what would it feel like to imagine ourselves finally, truly free of them? It's a 1600-year-old idea that is absolutely still worth thinking about.